बोलाना पड़ा. I'm really very sorry.
कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, not a problem at all.
So we understand that you have some commitments. So keeping in mind the number of
Mm-hmm.
participants will start by 12. ठीक है,
Sure, sure.
12 will start, and because this will be live streamed on YouTube, so it would be
Okay.
easy for us to like circulate it. So not an issue at all. Right?
ठीक है, okay, okay. We can wait for 2 minutes and then we can start it. No
Okay,
worries.
okay, okay. So just let me know when we can go ahead so that we could start everything. Okay.
Okay. Hey, hi, Hardik.
Yeah. Shall we start?
हाँ हाँ, I'm comfortable, I'm okay. अगर
All
सब
right. Okay.
आ गए हैं, थोड़ा लोग हैं तो we can start.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, guys. Bashir, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Hello everyone, on behalf of the Placement Assistance Council Campus Law Center, we welcome you all to the mentorship program on the art of uh, the art of scoring well, foundation framework, and success strategies. Today with us is Miss Simran, who is an alumnus of Campus Law Center, University of Delhi, of the batch of 2000 and 2025, and she is currently working as an executive investigation ethics and compliance at Flipkart. And beforehand, she has also worked as the long-term intern at Khaitan and Co. So, on behalf of Placement Assistance Council Campus Law Center, we welcome you, Ms. Simran, for this enriching mentorship program. Thank you so much for joining with us, and the stage is yours. Thank you, ma'am. You can go ahead.
Okay. So, I'm just turning on my camera. Yeah. Am I audible and visible to everyone right now? Okay. So first of all, thank you so much. Like, I'm really glad and grateful that I've been called as a speaker to my college only, and and I'm really thankful to Hardik and the placement cell and other faculties for considering me for this opportunity, and also really grateful again for that lovely introduction that Hardik have given me. So, as Hardik has already introduced me, I think there's nothing left to introduce that is left that I wanted to introduce about myself. So, I'll go on with the session. I'll just tell you all that how this session is to be proceeded, the key points, and then we'll take each and every aspect and cover it up in this introduction. In this session specifically, and I'm really sorry that I was not able to prepare any kind of presentation or something because of the work that I was occupied with. I'll try to send some answer notes and things that I can do post this session to Hardik. so that it can be helpful for the students there, so they can refer that and then use that during their exam preparations. Okay, so first of all, we'll go on with the sources. So whenever you're preparing for your exams, it's very important to understand what sources you need to cover. So in my 3 years, there were three sources that I used to prefer. First was the class notes, so I used to make class notes. Okay, secondly, there was barracks and case maths. Other than that, there were nothing else that I preferred. Okay, specifically in class note, I wouldn't suggest that you need to make like very good, everything should be in pinpoint, good handwriting. It's just that the basic idea of having class note is necessary, because whenever, suppose I'm a professor, I'm teaching you something and you're writing it down. So it is important, because if you write like the key points, the headings, whatever the professor has said, when you go back, not specifically on that day, but when you go back and study that particular chapter or particular case, it'll be easier for you to recollect as to what he has said or what she has said, right? And it will also be helpful, because that at times for me it helped, because it had gave me a little extra point that I could add into my answer, which you will not be able to find in the case map or in the bare acts. So it again gives an additional edge to your answer. So I think class notes are really important, which you should focus on. Other than that, I think bare acts and case maps are sufficient. If you read it thoroughly, if you get an understanding of it properly, I don't think you should go for any other kind of reference to standard book. I'll only give the strategy that I have followed. It is quite possible that this strategy might be helpful for you, or you can take a bit and pieces of this strategy and just blend it with your strategy in your exams. So I'm not saying that this is the only strategy that you should follow, but at least I think it will be helpful in getting a key points what I follow during my exam preparations. Okay. So then is the barracks. So what I did while I was reading barracks is first go through it once. Just read the section once. That's relevant. That's important. Just understand. Try breaking it into 2 to 3 parts, so that understand you can understand as to what each and every word, what each and every sentence is meaning. And then whenever we have sections, we have many commas and either and everything. Then try to mix all those things. So for example, if you have a particular section, suppose section number 23 of any act, and it has 3 parts, you have divided it into 3 parts. Okay, so now you first understand the meaning of each and every part, like separately, and then try to inculcate it in one section. So you have to first understand the meaning of one sentence, then the second sentence, then the third sentence, and then try understanding the meaning as to how this whole sentence is giving a meaning of full complete meaning. You have to actually link those 3 parts. So that is how you're going to read the bare acts, because that's really important. The next thing is case maths. Now, for me, case math was like the game changer, because in my first semester, I remember I was not very confident as to how will I score good in exams, because I have heard these rumors that there's not a good marking, you wouldn't get a lot of marks. So I was really nervous, and people used to prefer Dukki, case maths, they were standard books. So I was very confused. But I remember one of my senior, I was just buying books at the Dinker store, and he came and he said that it's better you first read the case maths and then go for any other standard books. We did not have any conversation. He just suggested me and he went. And I think that was the best suggestion, because I used the case mat only, and it has helped me in all the 6 semesters. So I think reading case mat, you will not only get an understanding of law, you will get an understanding of how you write an answer, because there's a difference when you write an answer for an other humanities paper and a law paper. Reason being, whenever you're writing a paper for, like you're paying for the law exams, for your semester exams, you get problem based questions. Okay, you also have some theoretical questions, but mostly you have problem based questions. The importance of problem based question is, in a way, you're giving a decision. Okay, so you're in a way writing a judgment. The art of writing that judgment you'll get through reading the case maths, because these are actually the extracts of different judgments from different courts. So you'll get an understanding. You'll try to pick up that art, that language, as to how the judges are writing the answer, writing the judgment. And when you inculcate that in your answer, there is what the difference comes along. Okay, so if you're reading a normal book, I'm not demeaning any book, but I'm just saying it will give a lot of insights. But for that particular aspect of how to write a judgment, you'll get that from the case mat. Additionally, case mat is helpful in a lot of ways. For example, I remember whenever you read any case from a particular case from a case mat, you'll not only get the section. So if you read it once, you'll also get the sections. You'll get additional cases. You'll get a proper understanding as to what was the ratio why these judges have decided this particular judgment, why they have given this judgment. So when you read it along, and if you read it 2-3 times, there have been times for me when I was, after I was like in the second and third semester, I understood the art of reading case mat. Okay, so if you read it once, you'll get an understanding of what the case is. This is also a strategy of reading case mat, I'll tell you. So if you read it once, you'll get an understanding what the case was, what was the decision. You just have to read. You do not have to memorize everything like, okay, this is this, I need to learn. No. You just have to go through it, read it once as to what the judgment was, what the case was, what was the issue. That's all. Then give it another reading. In the second reading, you'll find the key points, you'll find the ratio, you'll find additional cases where which that particular judge has referred in order to come to a decision. So these extra points you'll only get in the case mat, and it's very helpful because you get not only additional cases, you get quotations from different books. Like we have Mulla and everything, you'll get particular sections from there which you can write into your answer verbatim. So this again gives an highlight whenever if a professor goes through it, it gives an highlight as to, okay, the student has also read these books or have is well versed with the case mat, because he is giving additional points. Not so there should be something that changes your answer. It is something that will make you different. You have to think about that. Everyone will write sections, right? Everyone will write the cases which is there in the case mat, in the context section, content section. Okay, there's something that you have to give additional. So what additional points you can give is the cases which is mentioned in a, for example, I have case number 1 and I have 2-3 pages of that case. In these 2-3 pages, you'll always find some additional cases or some different quote that particular judge has referred. Have a habit of writing those cases, because if you write those cases, it will give an idea that you're not only yourself with the content section, but you have gone a step ahead to understand that I can also inculcate these cases. Secondly, there'll be some quotes, there'll be some lines from different books. Try to inculcate that also, because that is also another important point. Now, I understand that I've still myself, I feel overwhelmed whenever I was giving the exams. I remember the times that there was a lot of sources, there were a lot of things that you need to cover, and I understand it's very difficult to remember each and every name of the case and what exactly they have stated. So what you all can do is try picking at least, other than the content section, I'm just talking about the cases which are the additional cases which is present in between the cases of in between the lines of every cases, okay, in the case mat. So what you need to do is just take 2 to 3, which see, we all are aware that there are some topics that are relevant for the exam. Basis that topic, just select the cases from the content section first, that you're going to write these at least 2-3 cases from the content section in your answer. That is first thing. Second you can do is open those specific 2-3 cases, highlight at least 2 cases from each of those cases. For example, I have 3 cases. In every 3 of these cases, I'm taking 1 case, I'm picking up 1 additional case, memorizing the name of that case and understanding why I'm going to put it in my answer. You don't need to write the whole paragraph of those additional cases. Just understand. For example, I'm stating, I'm not able to remember name of a case right now, but if I give an example for like in A versus B, this was held, okay, and the reason was this particular thing. This I need to prove. This I need to give in my decision. If I see another case, for example, in right to privacy, suppose we take any case, then I can take the additional cases and just highlight that, okay, in these additional cases also it was noted that this particular judgment is correct or this particular decision is correct. So you don't need to go into the exact verbatim or what the judge has stated in those additional cases. You just need to mention that okay, in this additional cases also this was the decision only, and this was the reason that why this decision was taken. That is why I'm mentioning it in my answer. You don't need to get into a lot of details. I understand it will be a lot of things to memorize, so you can use this strategy, you can use this tactics. Other than that, writing the quotations and verbatims from the books, that is also an important aspect which you can try to include. But for me, what worked is, along with this books and everything, the cases I used to write around 7 to 8 cases. So what I used to do on the day of the exam, on the day of the exam, my only revision strategy was to reading the content section, nothing else. Because if you write in the landmark judgment and if you write the name of the case, there'll be a big difference because you remember the name of the case, right? So try writing the name of the case. If you're not aware of, for example, if you're aware of the first name, but you're not aware what is there after verses, it's completely fine. Just write the first name, verses, and put a dash. It's okay. And you can do it for one or two cases, not for all the cases, but this will give an ideology that it is difficult. Even the professors understand that it is difficult for the student to memorize and recollect everything. So they'll have an understanding that, okay, you remember this much, and this wouldn't cut down your points. Okay. So one thing that you need to focus is write as many cases as you can from the content section, from the additional cases. If you have, if there are any cases that the professor has stated in the class notes, try inculcating that. Because the difference between as I said earlier, the difference between a normal humanitarian paper and a law paper is that you're writing a judgment. You need to give some backup, you need to substantiate it, right? So you need judgments for that. So there is what the role of cases is important. Because if you're not giving any case law, or if you're not giving us to what should I put specifically, how should I substantiate my case, there'll be no use of your decision, right? How will you say that I have taken a decision basis that basis should appear in your answer. And I would suggest that I think your exams are going to start now, so I would suggest around along with reading everything, understanding and memorizing everything, have at least half an hour, if that is important, if you can do it in half an hour, to just read the names of the case. Have make a habit of just memorizing the names of the case. In that case, it will be very helpful because you'll be able to write it in the exam. Okay. So this was specifically in respect of the sources. So I'll just sum it up for the source section, that try to make class notes. If you do not have class notes, it's completely fine. CaseMat and Barrack will be suffice. That'll be really helpful. But have a habit of reading the CaseMat. Then I can explain the strategy of how to read a CaseMat. I've already explained everything. There are 2 to 3 key points that I would like to add. Is what I did. I did not have a habit of memorizing anything. Okay. And it's not like I'll be very honest, it's not like that the semester has started and started learning and studying from now. It's not like that. But it was also not like that I was studying 2 days before the exam. Take a month's time before your exams, a month or like 1.5 months, and start reading your case mat and barracks and everything. And the strategy that I followed is, I took this from someone else. So the strategy what I followed is, first you need to go through it once. Just read it once for understanding. Okay. Then read it again. This time you will understand what you need to write in an answer. So the first will be reading for understanding as to what should be there, what is the case, what is it about, what is the issue, everything. Second reading will be specifically in respect of what you need to mention in your answer. Okay. Third reading would be when you will be able to recollect. This time you won't read. Okay, it's not like you're reading one line, like each and every line. You're just going through it. You're just seeing, okay, this was the thing that I noticed last time, this is that I need to mention, this is that I have not missed, this is something additional that I have noted this time. So you don't need to read and write every line specifically. First reading will be a full-fledged reading where you will read every line. Second will be where you can just remove a few lines and add additional points and understand that this has to go in the answer. Third reading will be taking a glance where you will just see, like, turn the pages and understand, okay, this was the exact case and these are the things that I need to mention here. And if you're forgetting something that time, you can just have a habit, okay, I need to mention this also, and that time you can memorize one to two things that you're forgetting. Fourth reading will be the final reading, which is near to your exams, where again you're going to just have a glance. So why this is important is because I remember I was watching a YouTube for some strategy, and I think most of the people know Roman Saini, and this was a strategy. Was he gave the strategy that whenever you have to memorize any phone number or anything, you don't like memorize it like 9, 6, 7, 8, not like that, right? What you do is just you type it, and the number of times you dial it, you just get stuck in your head. Like for the addresses also, and for any every other like daily things. Similarly, have a habit of reading the case mat in a similar way. You do not need to like read and memorize everything in the first go. Just read it once, just like very lightly go through it, understand what the case is, just close it. Then come again, read again with additional points, then again close it. For the third time, you don't need to remember anything, because for the third time, they'll anyways be stored in your memory. So you just need to take a glance. There'll be some points that you might have missed that will be covered in the fourth reading. So have a habit of reading, not learning. Because if you say that learning thing, then I know it will take a lot of time. But for the reading and the strategy that I have said, like first time very full fledged, and then with the number of reading as it increases, the amount of time that you're going to spend will also decrease. Okay, so this is helpful because in that case, I remember facing this issue and discussing it with my friends when I was in college, that it was very difficult to remember the names of the cases. So the only way out was just reading. It'll get stored in your memory. It'll just feed in your memory. So have a habit of reading it, not learning and memorizing it. Towards the end of the exams, you can do that. And most importantly, have a habit of understanding, because it's law. It'll be very helpful if you understand. You can write it in your own language. It's nothing that you need to just verbatim everything. Okay, you can use your own language, explain it in your language, make it a good language, of course, a simple good language. I'm not saying that write a very hi-fi and a very that kind of English. Just write a simple language which is understandable, and which does not look bad. That's the only thing you need to keep in mind. Okay, now we'll go on with the main aspect of the session. I feel I covered the sources a lot. The main aspect is the answer writing. So I'll tell you what is the structure of an answer writing, how you can increase getting marks. You can get more marks by including a few points. I think these are very generic points, but when we try including it in our answer, this will have an impact over that, and we can see that in our numbers. So the first thing is the structure starts with an introduction. Always write an introduction. So the introduction is something where you need to explain the professor as to what the question was and what all things you're going to cover in this answer. It'll be a very simple statement, like, for example, this particular answer, this is a very generic line that I'm stating. I'll try if I can get my answers and I can give it to Hardik so that he can circulate around for your all references. For example, you can write this particular answer. This particular question pertains to whatever the issue is there in the question. Okay, and what all we are going to cover. So we'll first see the sections and then use case laws, with the help of which we'll finally come to a decision whether it is substantiated or unsubstantiated. So you just need to explain the invigilator. The basic crux of writing introduction is to make the professors believe that you are well aware of where this road is going to go. You have given them a roadmap. So reading with your 2-3 line introduction, do not write a lot of introduction. Okay. So there are also two different aspects. I'm first telling about the problem based question where we need to give a decision. Okay. So in that case, 2-3 line introduction would suffice. Just write 2-3 line introduction where you just need to explain what this particular question, this particular problem, to which section it pertains to. How am I going to prove whether, if it is a case, for example, if it is a case of murder, if the decision will be given in the favor of the person or against, whether it will be substantiated or not, and explain in the introduction that with the help of various case laws, we are finally going to come to a decision. That's it. This will help the professor to understand that you're going in the right direction. If you do not write an introduction and everything is not structured, it will be very difficult for the professors also to understand how you're going to navigate to the answer. So give them a roadmap. It make the whole answer an easier task for them. Okay, so it'll be very easy for them to understand. Make an answer in such a way that anyone, any law student, it'll be very easy for them to understand. Okay, this is the structure. This is what has happened, and this what now you're referring to sections. These are the case laws that you are using to substantiate and case, and that is why you have. This is the ratio, and that is the reason why you have come to a decision. So this whole channel should, function in a proper way. After the introduction is done, where you just introduce your answer, then you'll go to the legal provisions. Now you need to explain the sections which is there, which is falling in, which is particularly there in that question that is relevant. Explain the legal sections. You do not need to use the exact words. It's completely fine. Understand the section, write it in your own words. That's it. That is what I did. For an extra additional point, what you can do is, for example, we have cases where there are ingredients which is required only to, if for example if there are four things that is being fulfilled, only then this will be a case of murder or anything. So there are certain ingredients that are necessary for this particular act to fall in under a section. So what you can do is, you can mention the section number, write one line, this particular section pertains to murder or whatever the section is, and following are the ingredients. Like if it is satisfied, only then this will be considered as particular thing. Okay, so and the ingredients you don't need to write in a full sentences. Just make a bullet point, write the main topic, write the main heading, write only 1 or 2 3 words, whatever the section is about. Just write the ingredients in bullet points. Now this is, I'll tell you again how I helpful. So your answer should look clean and beautiful in a structured manner. We do not, what I felt is, at times these are very generic points which we do not consider, but I think did for me it did create an impact on my answer writing and on my structure and on my marks as well. So and towards the left side, so if you have mentioned your four ingredients towards the right side, towards the left side you can just write it down, the ingredients of particular whatever that act is or whatever that section is. Okay, so this is how you can proceed. The reason is not writing a paragraph is, it is difficult to read a paragraph, rather than it is very easy to just see the bullet points. You'll get an understanding. Okay, the student is saying this. It's very clear to me. But if you write a paragraph, it will be difficult for the professors to go through each and every line. So make their work a bit easier, and it's also clean. It's cleaner. The answer looks very clean when you write it in bullet points. Not like the whole sentence you need to write in bullet points, not the whole answer you need to write in bullet points, but bullet points should be used whenever you have any kind of ingredients or things that need to be satisfied in order for this particular act to fall in a particular section. So these are the aspects where you can use the bullet points. So this is how you're going to write your legal provisions. No need to write verbatim. Write in bullet points. Explain the ingredients. Write in your words. That's it. Simple English. Then we finally go on to the issues. So since it's a problem-based question, there'll always be an issue that you're going to resolve. Whether this will fall into, whether this will amount to culpable homicide, or whether this will amount to murder. Okay, so these are the questions that you need to write in issues. So mention the heading as issues. Write down 2 to 3 issues, yeah, one issue, whatever you are able to analyze in that question. Write those issues like in 1 to 3 bullet points, like 1 to 3 numbering. Also, you know, most of the issues will start from whether. Have a habit of writing the answer issues in that manner only. Whether this will fall under this culpable homicide or murder. So have a habit of this W questions. Most of the issues will fall under these categories only. After you have written your issues, now you finally go to the most important section of your answer, that is case laws. I would suggest don't use the word case laws or landmark judgments. Have a habit of writing precedents. Now, the reason that I stated this word is one and more aspect that you need to keep in mind whenever you write your answer is specifically that since it's a legal answer, along with the judgment writing art, you also need to keep in mind that you need to use legal words since we are becoming lawyers. Okay, so it is very important that we use those legal terminologies, legal maxims. So have a habit of writing. So that's why don't write case laws. Precedence is a better word. Write that. Again, additional to that, in case if you come across any particular answer where you can include the legal maxim, have a habit of doing that, at least one. It's okay for example, if you have no legal maxim that you remember, it's completely fine. It's fine if you don't remember it. But if you remember, if for example in any answer you thought that okay, I'm able to recollect what the legal maxim was, try writing that, and it'll have a different impact. So try your answer. Everyone's answer is same. I know everyone studies a lot, everyone is using those sections, case maths, writing the answer. You all just need to do a bit of extra efforts, extra points that you want to write in your answer, and that is where your answer will just get highlighted. So try having a habit of inculcating legal maxim if you can. Use legal language wherever you can. Substantiate. It's not like substantiated. I know it's a normal English word, but still, substantiated looks better. Uh, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Oh, okay. So have a habit of using legal maxims. Now the precedent section, this is very important. So first of all, you start with like this particular case. Now we all know, I've given the exams, I remember, whatever question is there in the exam, there'll be one case. Basis that question, you can always analyze that there is one case in the case map which has the complete similar facts, only the names have changed. There's nothing that will be changed. So if you have 5 questions, those 5 questions will pertain to one case for all those 5 particular relevant areas that is being covered in that subject. You will reading, by reading that question, you'll understand, okay, this is the same case that I've read in the case map, and basis that you need to give it your decision. What you can do is you can always start writing with this particular case which is there in the question. It pertains to and relates to a similar case, and write the name of the case which had the similar facts and the similar cases, issues, everything. Now I remember the time when we used to discuss as to whether we need to write the facts of the case to which it is pertaining, the similar case one. So if there is a question A, which is a case A in the question, and there is a case B in the case map to which it is very similar, you do not, what I did not write the facts of this particular case B, because it will be repetitive. It's already there in the question. You just need to mention that the facts and incidents and issues of case A in the question is similar in nature to case B, that and the name of the case. That's it. So that now the professors know that you have identified the correct case. That is first thing. Do not waste your time, right? Because you have to write a lot. I remember there's a lot of things. There were instances where because of lot of writing and because of lengthy questions, there was a chance that you can miss your paper. You can miss some questions. So avoid writing those aspects which are not necessary. If you have mentioned it, it is similar in nature to the another case and the name of the case. That's it. Now focus on the ratio of that similar case. Why a decision has been taken in that case, that is what you need to mention in answer. You do not need to mention the facts and incidences and issues. You just need to mention the ratio which was held in that particular case, basis what decision was taken. You need to mention it there in your answer. That's it. So if after writing it, this is the particular similar, and in this case, this was decided basis whatever the ratio was. Explain it in your words. Nothing is there to be written as verbatim. Explain it in your words that this was the reason that the judges decided that this should fall under culpable homicide. Mention that reason. That's it, that you're going for the similar case. Now come up with the extra cases that I've stated. Now in the case mat section, for every topic we had around 3 to 4 cases. We usually had this much cases for every topic. Okay, so along with writing that similar case, now first start with writing the remaining cases which is there in the case mat in the content section, you need to read, not the additional cases. These are the cases which you need to read. It is important. Okay, so first, then again start with writing that also in this case this particular thing was held because the ratio was this. Then write the remaining cases. So try inculcating as many number of cases that you can from the content section. Now, after you're done with this, if you find that there is any like I said in the earlier aspect, that you need to write the lines from books. If there is anything that you remember that okay, I can write that in but this particular book of a particular author, this was held and this was explained, so you can write it there. Just write it there in the precedent section that you always have to find a link that it should fit with your answer. If it is fitting with your answer, just write it down. Write it from this book. I have specifically this was held. Along with that, now come up with the additional cases. Now, in the additional cases, I'll tell you there were some cases where in the additional section in the additional cases might be it was not relevant for your case. It was not decision. The decision wouldn't have gone in your favor. So if you're deciding that this is culpable homicide, quite possible that the additional case might be saying something else. Now it is, then don't write that case if it is not giving anything extra. But if that additional case, and along with giving a decision that this is not culpable homicide, is also explaining something, that is what you can pull out from that case. So there'll be a lot of time when you read the case mat where you cannot find anything relevant or important on those additional cases, or you cannot find additional cases because most of the additional cases might is possible that will go against your decision that you're going to give in that particular question. So try pulling out if there is something that is explained about, for example, culpable homicide only. In that case, you can extract that. You do not need to write only those cases which is substantiating your decision. If there are cases which are not substantiating your decision but they have explained something which can be helpful for your answer, you need to write those cases. This is how you can use the tactics of how you're going to use the additional cases in your exam. Next is to that there were I think not only cases and books, there were in theoretical question, if we see there'll be times when there'll not be a, because we're not asking any question, right? There's no issue in that question. That's a completely theoretical question. In that cases also, in that questions also, you need to follow this similar pattern only till precedence. You need to write the cases which is there in that topic, but for that the introduction section will be different. I'll explain the introduction section for the theoretical question. So if there is not a problem based question, it's just a question where you need to explain the law or any theory or any like an environmental law will have a lot of I think you have EP and everything where you need to explain what is the meaning of all this, right? So whenever you need to explain the meaning, you'll have less of cases. So what you have to do in those cases is also important. So in that cases also again case matters is important, because in those cases where you do not have a lot of in those questions where you do not have a lot of cases to put in, you'll always have theoretical answers from different books, from different cases, from different authors, from different jurists. So you can use that. So in theoretical question, the pattern will change. In the introduction line, you will explain the meaning first. What is the meaning of this particular section, or what is the meaning of this particular word? You'll explain the complete meaning. Then you'll go on to what, because in this you don't have any legal provision. I'm just explaining completely in respect of a part which is completely theoretical, which is just a concept. For example, if you want to write an answer on PIL, right? So you have to explain what PIL is. Then you'll have to explain for who is the correct person to file PIL. There are many cases. I remember there were many instances where PIL can be filed. We need to see as to what was the intention of the person who's filing PIL. So you can inculcate these aspects in your answer. So if it's a completely theoretical question, instead of jumping onto legal, because you'll not have any kind of legal provisions mostly in these type of cases. You'll just have a theory. So start with your answer in introduction, explain what is the meaning of, for example, PIL, then go on with the extra information that you have. Try inculcating the answers, or the the things that jurists have said on these concepts. Explain that, keep those things in your introduction, then go on to explaining as to what is in the precedent section. If you have any kind of for example, any cases in this respect, then go on jumping onto those cases. But the aspect of legal maxim and theory and everything then should come into the introduction. So for problem based, we just have 2 3 line introduction, but for theoretical questions, we have a really not a really big, but at least 6 to 7 a paragraph of introduction that you want to give about PIL or whatever the topic is. Then you can jump on to the other aspects that you need to cover. This will differ basis question, that this I'll need to highlight. These are the things are that are covered, and then finally you'll go to the precedents, and then you'll come on to the conclusion. So for both these questions, for the problem based, after the precedence is done, you have explained all the cases, you have explained the additional cases, and the only thing you need to explain is the ratio. That's it. Do not go into the facts. Even for additional cases, you do not need to go into the facts as to what has happened and explain it in the answer, because it will make your answer very lengthy. It wouldn't be fruitful that much, and you can waste your time. So do not explain until unless it's very necessary, that you, without explaining those facts, you will not be able to make the people understand as to why this ratio has come. Only then explain the facts. If it is not important, just go on to the ratio. So the only strategy that you need to follow in writing precedents is the name of the case, oh, and what ratio was held. That's it. And if the ratio is not relevant for our purpose, but there is something that you need to highlight, name of the case, highlight that. That's it. After the precedent section is completely finished, you have mentioned all the cases that you remember, then come up for the ratio. Finally, you're going to give the ratio and the decision. There you need to finally put up that this is this particular question that is there, or this particular case, or X has killed Y, whatever it is, it will fall under culpable homicide or murder, whatever the case is, basis the case, the similar case. Now here you need to substantiate it with the similar case that was there. Okay, the base as substantiated by this particular section and this particular case law, and if there is anything else that you want to highlight, there it will go into the decision section. So in the decision section, you just need to give your decision, and it is substantiated by whatever there are case laws, or whatever there is any kind of sections that you want to mention. Lastly, but it's very important, always write a conclusion. Conclusion is, for example, if you're agreeing with your decision. Okay, so in that case, it's very difficult to conclude an answer, because you're already, it is going in your favor. But try writing at least 1 to 2 line of conclusion that you came across while answering this question, or specifically for this topic, or specifically, like for example, if 4 of the ingredients are there for a particular section and 3 are satisfied, okay, then it will not fall under this particular act, because all the 4 was necessary for being for this particular act to fall under this section. So in conclusion point, you can just tweak your answer and write as, if all the 4 ingredients was so finally, as a concluding remark, we can note that if all the 4 ingredients were satisfied in this particular case, the decision might have been changed. So something like, if you're not finding any conclusion, still have a habit of highlighting any key point that you find across that answer. Okay, that is the concluding point. This was completely for the problem based structure, where you have a 2 3 line introduction. Then you will have the legal section, where you can explain the ingredients and everything. Make it in bullet points, like 1 2 lines and then bullet points. Towards the side, you can write ingredients or whatever the section is. Then go on with the issues. Highlight the issues which you are going to identify, because this is again an important part of being a lawyer. you need to understand what issues you're going to treat with, if you're going to tackle with. If you're not aware of the issues, you'll not cite particular good sections, you'll not cite the correct sections, and you won't be able to close your cases. Okay, so have a habit of writing those identifying the issues correctly and mentioning it in your answer. Then go on for the precedent section, explain all the case laws, every case law that you can do, write the name of the case law. Avoid using the habit of writing landmark case. For one two you can do, but not for all the cases. In that case, it wouldn't give you that much marks as it would if you have written the name of the case law. Then go on with the decision section, give your decision, and finally conclude your answer. For the theoretical question, follow the introduction, which has to be a bit lengthy, not like one page, but at least one paragraph, 5 6 7 lines. Then go on to explaining the other aspects about this concept that you're referring to in your question. Then go on to, if there is, mostly there won't be an issue, so you can skip that section. Go on for the precedent section. In the precedent section, then explain the case laws, and if there is any kind of legal maxim that you want to explain those sections. And then finally give, in this also you won't have a decision, so finally conclude your answer. In conceptual questions, you'll always, it'll be easier for you to conclude, you have a conclusion that you can give. Okay. And lastly, it's very important in the problem based question, the issues that you have highlighted towards the precedent section, after it is done in the decision section, always capture those issues. Like for issue number 1, it is substantiated basis this decision. In issue number 2, it is unsubstantiated basis this case law. So do not just keep those issues open, try to close it in the decision section. So this was completely regarding what all you can write your answers. 2 3 additional points is use blue and black pen. Always write your case laws with black pen, your headings with black pen. Is if there is any name of the jurist that you want to say with black pen, or if there is anything like you want like a particular line to be highlighted, to write it in black pen. It's necessary because if I'm reading an answer and if it is like for a completely blue page and it's everything is in a whole like paragraph, there's no spacing, there is no breaking of line, there's no bullet points, it will be difficult for me to read. Okay, but if you do not do the opposite, like you're breaking the lines, you're using it paragraphs, using bullet points, you're using blue black pen, it will be my eyes. Even if I don't want to, it will be easier for me to navigate through that paper. I can easily see that okay, this particular student has written this particular thing. I can easily navigate, so it will create a good impression, and that's a fact. It does create. It's where if you're making your answer an easy to read answer, it will be very helpful for the professor to read, and not only in this aspect, because what I felt is I want to show the professors, because they're taking a lot of number of papers. I want whenever they come to my paper, I want them to see these particular points that I have read. I want them to see that I've gone through these points. Highlight those points in black pen, because that will be very important. If you highlight it, I can quickly see okay, my eyes will go there. Okay, this is the point that is written. Just highlight those points which you want the professor to see in your answer script, because that's very important. After that, I think the last aspect of the session would be, since I think I've covered the sources, I've covered how to write an answer, and the last aspect would be time management, because I feel time management is an issue. I remember myself also writing an answer. It was very difficult to complete it in time. I remember just 2 minutes before my paper used to complete, or at times there were instances where there was the bell and my dot, I've completed my paper. Thankfully, there wasn't any instance where I missed my paper, or I forgot. I left one answer or any aspect. I tried writing everything. With for this was helpful for me from my class note making habit. So if you're making class notes, so I do not make like very good notes in class. Like if you see my register, I think it's very bad, and I can understand, because I used to write everything. Whatever the professor is saying, it will be there in my register. There's no point that I can miss. If I'm there in the classroom, it will be there in my register. So I think one habit, if you're not making class notes, then have a habit of writing answer in the like in the stipulated time for the 3 hours, have a habit of answer writing practice. Then do that answer writing practice, because then it will be very helpful, because speed is very important. The only way out is, writing the answers fast. I'll be very honest, because for me it was helpful, because I used to make class notes very, like, I used to include everything. The professor is stating, I am writing and I'm understanding also. So I did not give my time in practicing answer writing. But if you want, if you are someone who's you're missing your answers, you're not able to complete your answer, and completely understand that that was an issue, because at times the questions are very lengthy, and you need to cover a lot of things, and I have gone through it. I understand that for writing a good answer, you need to highlight all the aspects. So then have a habit of answer writing. Just give, like if you have 3 hours exam, so if you have to write 5 questions, divide. So the first answer, I remember, for me it was also the very lengthy. I remember I took around 40 minutes to write the first answer. We always are slow for the first answer. But with the next answers, we used to speed up, because we used to see the time and we were like, okay, we don't have time left. So take half an hour daily. If you are someone who are okay with, investing your time in answer writing practice, to take half an hour daily, divide the time as to how much time you'll give to each answer in your exams in those 3 hours. Take that time only. Have a habit of writing complete answer in that particular time. Okay, so if you do this habit, I think that will be really helpful. And regarding the studying aspect, I think for that, I would suggest ki, try studying before your exams, like 1 month or 1.5 month before, and not if you start within this timeline, it wouldn't be a burden towards the end, and also not that time. Also, you can also have fun, because I know it's a college life. You all want to have fun. I remember I also had that time, so it's okay. You can just read at that point of time. So if you take the timeline of 1 and 1.5 months, it'll be easier for you to complete your, you know, syllabus beforehand. So what you can do is, first take like 20 days. First 20 days is something you can take to go through the, complete the syllabus in one go, not learn everything. So this that I have followed. If it does not work for you, you can completely, opt for some different strategy. But this has been helpful for me. So like, for if I have 45 days, or if I have 30 days, for example, if I take 30 days, the first 20 days would be completing the syllabus, just going through everything. It's not like I'm learning everything. I'll just read everything that is there, the bare act, the case mat, everything. And because I'm not in the learning aspect, because I'm just in the reading aspect, I'll try doing it fast. And it's also not a burden, because if you're learning it, it will take time. But if you're just reading it, understanding it, it won't take time. And because these 20 days was really crucial for my preparation, because this was the time when I used to, do the full-fledged reading. After that 20 days, we have 10 days left. For the starting of the exam, for the first paper, I'm not saying, for the, always have this 3 days window before your first paper. Try, doing all the subjects. For example, if your paper is on 20th, and you want to start studying for the 20th paper from 17, then try closing all the paper by 15 and 16. Okay, or you study all the syllabus, all the papers till 15th and 16th, and from 17th you can start off for the first paper that you have, so that you can give like 17, 18, 19 whole 3 days completely. Basis, it depends on the paper that it is. It's not necessary. If you feel that the first paper is something which I can, cover up in 2 days only, you can change it accordingly, your plans and strategies. So first 3 days I used to, devote for the first paper, and before that, if I consider like till 15th, I used to complete the whole syllabus. So that was one thing. So after the 20 days period is done, the next 7 days or 5 days, you can divide as per your convenience, would be the second reading thing, where, you remember I told that there will be 4 reading aspects. There's a second reading thing where you need to, now you need to understand a bit of learning, like these are the additional thing that has to go into my answer, these are irrelevant things which I'm not referring to. The 5 days aspect will be for this particular second reading. The third reading would be finally where you are going to just take a glance and compare. So the third reading will be very easy, because now you're just taking the glance. Okay, this is particular. You're opening the case mat. You're seeing the name of the particular case, just going it through, turning the pages, understanding, okay, this was held in this particular case. These are the additional cases that I need to mention, and it's done. This is how you're going to do in the third reading. The fourth reading will be in the leaves that you get for the exams. So in that you need to like full fledged like study for the whole day completely without. You obviously take breaks, but obviously you cannot have like 5 to 6 hours break. That will be you have to study. That will be a hectic schedule. The fourth reading will be final reading where you'll give study you'll revise the bare acts, the sections, and what all was covered there. And for example, I'll also tell how to read that. So after the fourth reading is done, on the day of the exam, what I did was the fifth reading. If there is something that I'm not able to, there were for me also this happened. There were some instances where I was not able to understand the section or memorize a particular thing. So along with that, I also see all the content section. So the content section was like my go-to thing whenever I used to enter the exam. Or before that, the only thing which I used to see was the case mat and the content section along with the additional cases, because I knew that, because I understood the strategy that this is the only way that I'm getting the marks. So I did not want to just miss over that. Now I think I've covered almost every aspect. The last thing which I would like to mention is, just give me a second. Yeah, I think most of the things are covered. For the reading aspect I was stating. So in the third and the fourth reading, what you can do is just see the name of the case, close your case mat, try like you're teaching someone. Okay, so just take some time with you, teach them. Imagine there's some imaginary student that you're teaching, or just explaining it, giving it to speech or anything, just explaining it to someone. And if you want to explain it to someone in your family, you can always do that. So you need to explain them, okay, this was the case, this was the legal provision that was mentioned here, and this was the reason why this decision was taken, and these are the additional cases which I'm going to refer in the section, and these are the additional points which was mentioned on those additional cases. Now, the reason that will be helpful, because when you open your case mat again, you must have covered almost all the points. You'll just have to see those points that you've missed, and that case is done for you. So I think that is what you need to focus whenever you are writing an exam or studying for your exam. So to sum it all, whatever I've said, I think I've covered almost all the points that I used to follow while I was preparing for my exam. So first, just keep in mind to write the, focus on your sources. That is. Case mat and barracks. If class notes, if you have it, it's very good. If not, it's okay. Go for the case mats and barrack. Other than that, for the time management, have a habit of reading the case mat. Read it, because if you're like in a first semester, second semester, or third, fourth, whatever semester you are, if you read it once, okay, from the second semester, from the next semester, you'll be able to analyze as to what you need to read, what you don't need to read. In the case mat also, you'll understand, like for in case mats, there are many times, if there is a lengthy case, you will see that the sections are also mentioned. So if you already learned it, you have already understood it from the barrack, you can skip that section. You can skip that particular page because that's not relevant. You've already studied it. Just cut it out and move to the next page. So after have developing this habit of reading case mat, you will understand as to what you need to read in the case mat also, and what you need to avoid. So I have a habit of reading barrack and case mat. Other than that, for the answer writing, for the problem based, have a 2-3 line introduction. Then go on for the legal provision. Do not go for verbatim. I know it's very difficult. Then go for the issues thing, what you need to highlight. Then the precedents, in which you need to mention all the cases from your content section and the additional cases. If you are not able to recollect, it's completely fine. It wouldn't happen that for all the subjects, for all the answers, you were able to recollect every case that was available. So that was there in the case mat, but have a habit of writing more cases. As much as you can remember, write it down. Do not think that 5 is enough, but I am able to recollect 7, but I'll only write 5. No, just write it 7. Write all those 7. It will be really helpful. After the precedent section is done, give a decision, substantiate it with a particular case, and then finally give a conclusion. For the theoretical questions, just go on with your introduction. Keep it a bit like a paragraph, something. Explain it in a detailed version. Go on with the other aspect that you need to highlight in that answer. Then go on with the precedent section. In this, you wouldn't have a decision until unless it's a mix of concept and problem. So in that case, this strategy will only follow. In introduction will be lengthy a bit, where you'll explain the concept. Then you will, if there is any kind of legal provision will come up. If not, then issues will come up. Then precedents, and since if it is a combination of problem and theoretical, then decision will also come. And finally, conclusion. So this is how you need to follow. Use legal language. Use legal maxims. Try inculcating as many cases as you can. Give your answer a particular structure. Keep it clean, keep it nice. Do not break the paragraphs. Do break the paragraphs. Write it in key points where you can, write in bullet points wherever you can. And finally, give a good concluding remark. Do not go for very high-fi English. I'll be very honest, it's okay, you can write a simple English language, it's completely fine. And but the only thing that is just going to create an impact on your answer is specifically the cases. Because understand, and the art of reading that case smart. Because understand, there's a difference between writing a normal answer and writing a legal answer. That's a judgment. You're anyways giving a judgment, so it should look like a judgment. Okay. And lastly, for the time management, try completing everything, not completing, try studying before like a month of the exam. Divide it into the period of like 15-20 days, then 10 days, something like that. So this 1 month, it does not include like the date of the exam. So if the date of the exam is 15, you need to count the month like from 12th. So these 30 days will end at 12, because you need some for the first paper also. Okay. So try dividing that 30 days timeline or 45 days timeline, whatever you choose, into 2-3 reading times, so that you can first time you'll complete your syllabus, then you'll go on the second reading, then the third reading, and the fourth reading for the exams. And finally, for the time management and exams, I think have a habit of making class notes. If not, then invest some time. Like if you're going to take like 20 minutes, 25 minutes for one answer in your exams, have a habit of completing a particular answer from a particular topic in those 20-25 minutes. Devote that time every day, so that you can just come up with the speed in writing the answer. So I think I have covered everything which I followed. If there's anything that you guys want to add, or if there's any question that you want to ask, you are free to ask. So I think everything is covered from my exam. Okay, our exams are from 8th December. Suggest a faster strategy. Okay, so in that case, first tell me, are there any kind of leaves or not in your exam? Like, what are the kinds of leaves? Are
Yes,
there
yes,
not?
yes. We have a standard dates at this time. We don't. We have leaves
We
actually.
have leaves now. Okay, so in that case, you can do not go for that second 2-3 days gap. So see it then it's a very, you can easily do the case man things. What I can see is because I remember while I was in Khetan, I was interning. I remember I was there with a lot of work, and there was little of time that was left. So in this time also, you still have like around 10 days, if I say. You can do reading the case mat if you haven't, even if you have not completed anything beforehand, just go on for the one reading then. So in that case, do not go for 3-4 readings, because that you'll be able to do in your like leaves that you have. So what you can do right now is just go through the Bear Act, understand it, and if you have understood it, you don't need to memorize it. Okay. For the case map thing, if you know the case, the faster strategy could be, I would suggest to get a like an if you remember the case, it's completely fine. If not, then give at least one reading, because if you do not give one reading, you won't be able to understand it. Okay, so give a reading of a case, read bare act, read one section, read one, give one reading to the case mat, to that particular case, not the complete case mat, or to that particular case that you want to cover in that area, and then try to memorize it. Okay, so you just have 10 days. Try dividing your 5 papers. Would you suggest? Okay, so for me, I wouldn't suggest Tuki, because I haven't read it. So it's not like I'm remaining. I haven't read it, so I don't know how the Duki looks. So Even I haven't seen a page of it, so I'm not, I think, the correct person to comment on it. For me, the strategy was reading case map. It really worked for me, and I think if you take my suggestion, read the case map, because I felt I have seen people reading bookies. I feel it's more lengthier as compared to case map. For me, I think it's more lengthier. It was more lengthier for me. So that is one of the reasons that I would prefer to ask you to read case map. For the PYQs, what you can do is you can analyze the question. PYQs is important for analyzing the question. Analyze the questions, analyze the topic, what is coming, and get an understanding, and then prepare accordingly. And to answer the question that for the faster strategy, since there's a less time left for your exam, you can prepare the important topics that you need to prepare from the case map and from the barracks. Analyze the PYQs first, understand as to what are the important topics, which is repeating all the time. Only prepare those topics first, because you need to, just answer those 5 questions first. So prepare those topics, but prepare it from the case map and from the barracks. Because if you understand, if you just have one reading, just like one half an hour reading for one case, I think you'll get an understanding of what the case is. And if you get an understanding, you don't need to, go read the case mat again. You'll just, okay, you just open the case mat and just then note down the points that you're going to mention in your answer. You can do this. This will be helpful for you. Okay, for juris, I remember juris was really difficult for me also. Okay, I'll just first wrap up this question. I'll come up to the juris question also. So, for the faster strategy, select the relevant topic, select the important topic that is going to come in the exam. Prepare only those topics first, because that's important. Then prepare it from the case map and the barrack. Just read the section, read the case. I think that's enough. After reading, you'll get an understanding what is it, right? So while reading the case map, what you can do is you can prepare pointers as to these are the things you can mention in your answer. Don't go for notes. There's no time. I think if you like, I do not have a habit of, I just had a habit of class notes. I did not have any habit of preparing notes while writing the exam. For preparing for the exam, it was very difficult for me. So if you're very well versed with that note taking topic, note taking thing, you can go. If not, then just make 5 to 6 pointers for every case, that this is what you want to write in your answer. Then you can just remove the case mat from the picture and then read those, 2 3 pages that you've prepared, that this is the case, this is the section, these are the pointers that I need to write in my exam. If you forget anything, just refer back to the case mat. This, I think, would be helpful, because you have enough gap, I think, from for the exam. So you'll also get that duration. So for these 10 days, try in preparing as much as you can for all these subjects, the important topics. And for juris, my strategy was only case mat. So in that, we do not have any much cases. We have, it's just theoretical based. Read, and I remember for me, this time we had new paper. There was a new paper. The syllabus of juris was changed, and we did not have many sources. So that was where you can get, you will always have some class notes from the professors if they are giving. For us, like there was for the new juris paper. If it is not there, just solely rely on the case mat. Then you have no other sources. The only source is case mat. Just read it, just learn it, memorize it. For juris, I would say that you, at times, if you have understood, you need to memorize also a lot of things, because I understand it was difficult for me also. I remember both of my juris paper, I was really scared as to what I will do, but it went well. So use the case mat only. In that, you will get a lot of so it will be a literally theoretical answer. So you'll get a lot of opinions, lot of jurist opinions, schools, and everything. There'll be a lot of theories in the case mat. So have a reading of the case mat. I think for jurists, the only source is case mat. Refer it, because for what I feel is, for the standard books is, if you are if we can't recall the name of the case in the for the content name. Huh, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, like for first you have to answer, Manisha, for your jurist case. If you're going for standard books, I think you'll have a lot of sources and it'll be all scattered. So have only one source in that case, so that it'll be easier for you, to conclude and just learn from there only. Because if you think, if you're going for some standard books also, then you'll have a lot of sources scattered on, and it'll be very difficult to complete. So complete using only those case mark. Regarding your question, if you remember the content, it's completely fine. It's like I said, it's not important that you need to remember the name of all the cases. It's okay if you're not able to remember the name of one two cases. Just write like in this landmark case, this particular thing was held. You can always write that. If you remember the content, go for it. It's completely fine. I think that answers your question. Is there anything that you want to ask? No, I would suggest writing 8 9 pages, but it does not have quality. If you're like, I remember there were instances where there was a discussion that the papers, if I've written 14, 13, 14 pages, it'll be very good. I'll get marks. It wouldn't help. If you're write 8 to 7 to 8 pages, okay, depending on the marks of the question, you can change accordingly. But the quality is important. Now, the quantity of the cases I'm mentioning is because I'm substantiating my answer because of that. I'm not asking to to write like 10 pages or 14 pages. I'm asking everyone to inculcate more cases. The quantity and the quality of cases is important because we are giving a judgment. Other than that, it's not important to write 14, 15 pages. It's not going to give you. It's not going to fetch marks if you're not writing a quality answer. So quality answer includes a lot number of cases which you can remember, and if it includes a mix of cases and opinions from jurists. So it's if you write only 5 cases, but you've also mentioned like legal maxims, and you mentioned the opinions from jurists, that will be a better answer rather than writing 14 pages. Your answer should be a mix of everything, that it should look like a judgment, and towards the end the professor should be aware like, okay, this is the reason that the student has covered everything, and then why they have come up to this decision. They shouldn't have any question in mind when they end your answer, right? When they end reading your answer. So quantity does not matter in respect of the number of pages. It does not. Quality matters. Write a good answer. That's it. And for the case number of cases, try including as much as you can, but keep your answer a mix of everything. I think that's what is important. I think I have. Do I have anything in specific to this, or have I answered your correct question correctly? You can contact me on LinkedIn. No worries, you can contact me, Priyanshu. You can contact me there. If you have any doubts or anything, you can always ping me there. If I'm a lot of occupied, like this month, I was really occupied with work. So for this session, I was not able to prepare any kind of presentation. I'm really sorry for that. Otherwise, I would have prepared it beforehand, and just showcase as to how you can write a better answer. And But you can always, for any other doubts or anything, you can contact me on LinkedIn. I At times, if I'm occupied with a lot of work, I might reply slow, or I might reply late, but I always address your doubts and questions. Yeah, sure. Hardik, I'll share it with you. You can just forward it there.
Sure, 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 sure.
Okay.
We'll be circulating a Google Drive for the same.
Okay.
That brings to the end of the session. I request Nandini to give a vote of thanks for the speaker and conclude the session for this evening.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Simran. I'm Nandini. I'm the co-convener for Placement Cell. I'd like to thank you for giving your time to our juniors and to give them tips and advice on how to score well in the exams. Considering that this might be the first exams that they're writing, so I can understand the kind of fear that they have. And I think considering you've scored like 68%, so they have like very valuable advice right now, and I really hope that they put that into use. And yeah, thank you so much for coming here and taking out valuable time. And thank you to all the participants for listening in. And I hope that you put these tips to good use. So
Even
yeah.
I'm thankful, for all of you, for the placement self, Hardik, Nandini, everyone, the faculties, for considering me for this opportunity. I was really glad and overwhelmed. Like coming back to my own college for this particular thing that I used to discuss in my college times with my friend as to how we can write an answer. But I hope that I have given some things that you all will get. You all will get. Don't worry. Yes, definitely. Then you will get that. So I just hope that all of you, just pass on with flying colors. You get really good marks, and I hope that whatever advice that I've given is something that is helpful, and I haven't bored you all for like 1.5 hours. So thank you all for joining. And is there if there's any doubt or is there anything that you want to discuss, you can always contact me on LinkedIn. I just want to thank all the participants that have joined and the placement cell, Hardik Nalni and the faculties for inviting me for this particular session. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining. Thank you everyone for joining. The session is over, and we hope to organize more such sessions in the near future, so that the more of the student could be benefited in terms of academics, in terms of placement, in terms of guidance. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. We can drop off now.
Yeah, yeah, you can
Okay.
drop.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. All the